Welcome to Extraordinary Journey of Phil Russo, a Canadian-Italian trailblazer whose hands have shaped more than just custom cars and luxury homes. They actually built a legacy, which is heavy duty. Like his company, Heavy Duty Homes, Phil's story is one of relentless pursuit, where every setback is a setup for comeback. From smart home technology to grandeur of luxury renovations, his Maverick's story is a path of success. I'm Matt Mack, and I welcome you to Bloody Mavericks, where sanity takes a back seat. I'm Matt Mack, and this is Bloody Mavericks. Today on the show, we've got Phil Russo, an owner of Heavy Duty Homes. Welcome, Phil.
Thank you.
It's awesome to have you. I hope we're gonna have some conversations about the industry itself, but mainly about the Maverick part of you.
Sure. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure, Phil. We are starting, as always, with my blind guess. As you can see in front of you, there is some Italian food out here, and correct me if I'm wrong, but this is supposed to be a polpette de tagliatelle.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct?
Polpette tagliatelle, yeah.
All right. And we also have some tiramisu for a dessert. On your side, and we've got some beans that I have never seen actually.
Some beans, some meatballs. Yeah. Very Italian.
Very Italian.
Yeah.
Resembles what you've been eating at home as well?
It's very similar, yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
Pretty close.
Dig in then.
Oh, yeah.
While we are slowly digging in, I'm going to be jumping with a couple questions on you, so don't feel pushed, but tell me, what kind of... Because if I'm correct, you've got mainly Italian background.
Yep.
From your family side. Is it from both sides, mother and father?
Mother and father. They're first generation Italian. I'm second. So I was born in Canada.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So your parents came...
I think my mother came here when she was 6.
Okay.
6 or 7. And I think actually my father was born here. His parents were both in Italy as well, Sicilian and Shusciata, Rome.
All right. So
yeah,
part from Rome, part from Sicily.
That's right.
And that's so. Who was from Sicily? Who was from Rome?
My father's Sicilian. His father was Sicilian, and his mother was from Rome. And my mom is fully from Rome.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome.
Yeah.
So you are full-on Canadian right now, right?
I'm a full Canadian, yeah. I grew up with, obviously mixed Italian heritage, food-wise, culture, how I was raised, how I was beaten. Everything's very Italian.
Oh, yeah.
But growing up in Canada, for sure, it's different.
So what's different about it from your perspective?
Trying to grow up in a Canadian culture, with a bunch of typical people, Canadian kids that have been here forever. When you get introduced into school as a kid and you're bringing all this Italian food around, nobody really knows what it is, You have big lunch boxes with lots of Tupperwares and bowls of pasta, and the other kids are eating Lunchables.
Yeah.
And, stuff off grocery store prepackaged shelves.
True.
And here you are eating a stuffed spinach pizza and lamb chops.
Bringing real food to school. What did you ever ever struggled as a kid, as a teenager, seeing that?
No.
Like bringing it over?
No. A lot of kids would, when you're really young and you bring food to school, everybody's like, what is that? Nobody knows. So as a young kid, you kind of feel embarrassed. You just want to bring normal food to school because you feel like you stand out. But then you get a little bit older and you're like, what the hell is this shit these people are eating? Can you swear on the show?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Be as real as you are.
The second you realize, what are these kids eating? in school. It's all garbage. It's usually probably when I was about 11, 12, 13 years old. That's when I'm like, no, I'm bringing the real food to school. I got trays of lasagna, veals. I don't want any Lunchables or cold pizza or whatever.
For sure.
So it's all good stuff. This is very good, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the sauce actually tastes pretty on point.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Good to hear, because every time I'm trying to figure out. So far, I have only one Italian on the show, Italian background.
Yeah.
And like, you always want to give some extra spin and bring some.
Of course.
With Italian food, like every single show, I can have a different dish. Right?
Of course.
Because it's so many, and all of it.
It's like the motherland for food, right? Everything's there.
That's true.
Almost everywhere you go, Italian is everybody's favorite cuisine, because there's just, I feel like there's a palette for everybody's taste. There's fish, there's meat, there's carbs, pizza, pasta, dessert. Right. So, it kind of caters to everybody.
True. And it's kind of really comforting food.
It's comfort food, yeah. It hits the spot. It's not very good for diets, but what can you do?
Yeah, it's the love of a food, right?
That's right.
And you can taste it in every bite, basically, going through it. And
absolutely.
Have you been to Italy yourself?
Never had a chance to go. Actually, I've had many chances, but I mean, given work and all that, I want to be able to go for at least 3 to 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Which I plan on doing. Hopefully, after I get married or something, maybe we'll do the honeymoon there and actually take a nice block of time off and go and enjoy it. Italy's not one of those places you go for a week to 10 days. There's just so much to see.
Yeah, and you would be sacrificing so much. You would just touch it a little bit, and you won't see the whole.
Of course, then it's a waste of a trip almost.
True. And there's almost every small part of it is different, right?
Have you been?
I've been, when I was a kid, I've been around Pisa and northern parts, because my aunt is living there in Pisa, and she's married to Italian. So
you moved here from Norway?
That's a longer story, but the last long stop was Norway.
Okay.
And we've been traveling a little bit through Asia before we came here, but
Oh wow.
We've been living in Norway before, and Poland.
Now, how far is Norway from Italy? Easy to get to, or?
Probably like 3,000 to 4,000, depending where in, obviously, Norway and where in...
right, of course, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But I would say about 3,000 to 4,000 kilometers.
Okay. It's not a terrible flight.
No, not really. Flight is pretty decent.
Couple hours or whatever,
couple hours and you would be there.
Yeah,
for sure.
I think we're about 10, 12 hours from here. Or is it 8? I can't remember. I've never been, so I just hear people talk.
Should be around 8, 9-ish level.
I know it's a longer flight, that's for sure.
If you are going to Sicily, probably you need
right to the bottom,
transfer and whatnot. But I guess that's around there, because when we are going and flying to Poland to visit the family, that's 8 to 9 hours flight. So that's around there, and that's more north. So basically detour south, and you are in Italy, right? Should. Even the bread is amazing.
What'd you do here? Like a little garlic oil? Yeah, nice. Rosemary.
Yeah, olive oil, and that's it, right?
Beautiful. That's what it is, man. Just clean. It's just simple.
Yeah, true.
Italian food is not very labor intensive. Unless it's a lasagna.
Oh, yeah. And not overcomplicated, and
it's easy stuff.
Yeah. It's phenomenal, right? And as you said on the beginning, it's kind of easy if you go ahead more.
I will, yeah, absolutely.
And it's pretty can accommodate to everyone's taste buds and preferences and all of that, right? Everyone can find something in Italian cuisine for themselves, right?
Of course, yeah. Yeah.
I'm looking forward actually to going myself back and discovering it, as you said, for a couple of weeks and just going south to north, small places.
Find all the good restaurants.
That's right.
Yeah.
Eat with locals and.
That's what you got to do. I hear in Italy the best restaurants are people's backyards.
True.
So they have obviously their expensive restaurants set up for tourists and stuff like that. Sure. But if you go to you find a house that you're never gonna find online. Something you were recommended to, it's a husband and wife that cook and serve on their patio.
That's right.
And some of the most amazing food I heard comes out of those places. And you're not spending 1,000 euros on dinner.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. I remember as a kid actually being invited. Me and my parents, we've been going to visit my aunt and her husband, and I remember my aunt's husband parents invited us for a home meal. Oh man, it was just more and more food.
Yeah,
another
keeps coming.
Keep on coming.
Yeah,
and it's like you barely walk after that, but it's so phenomenal.
Right. That's another thing. You grow up in an Italian household, you're always eating, and your body becomes hungry for that. Like I'm 5'7", I'm 250 pounds. I'm always eating, but because I'm always working, you carry it differently. But it's hard not to. Like when you grow up on food like that, and then you have to diet, and you try to eat friggin' salads or tuna or like chicken breast, very little flavor. It's very hard because you're so used to a lifestyle of such good food.
That's right.
And you almost don't want to change your habits. You just got to portion control and figure out how to make the not so healthy food work, because once you taste it, you can't go back.
Yeah, it's so hard. I can attest to that. Like. Going and exercising and still keeping up to your diet it's super hard, right?
Yeah.
And even either you count the calories or either you go about just making healthy decisions.
Yeah. So. That's the problem with Italian food. One meatball, you lost your calories for the day. Half of them,
Yeah.
So that's all you can do.
Yeah, but they are amazing for sure. On the side of your family and family backgrounds, if I would ask you, what would be the first thing about your culture, about your background that you would show me? And I would be completely unfamiliar with anything Italian. What would be the first thing that you would show me or tell me about?
That's a tough one. I feel like Italian culture is pretty public. I would have to say maybe some instruments. Music is very common for you to hear, but they have their own sets of sounds that actually come from the natives and stuff. And it's really weird style instruments and weird style sounds and things that they play in their mouth with their teeth. Things I've never seen here before that my grandfather have brought back. And then they're also still kind of old school. They smoke a lot of pipes. So that's very Italian culture. Not much of that you'll see here anymore in Canada.
Yeah, that's right.
But other than that, it's definitely having a strong background in self-employment or construction, because they're all kind of raised that way in Italy. And if you're not working with your hands, you better own a business of some other type.
Okay.
Because they're not very, let's say, educated to become scholars there.
Okay.
Most of the people end up just working in types of skilled labor. So that's heavy on the culture. The food and the lifestyle's big. But here, we've lost our lifestyle that everybody kind of grew up with there, which is live to work, not work to live.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. They could keep their shops open till 8, 9 o'clock at night, but at 12, 1, maybe they're going to shut down for a few hours, go take a nap, and then reopen the store when they feel like it. And, they don't really let the work day dictate how they're doing. They kind of work, and you're either going to use their business or not. And that's a mentality there that you will never see here.
True. And it's more healthy.
It's healthier, yeah.
And
food's all natural. It's not processed. You're not running through canned and boxed goods. Everything's homemade. Everything's homegrown. So culturally, I mean, it's very different there. And again, I haven't been, but obviously I have family there. We talk all the time, and we know how it is. My parents go back there, back and forth all the time.
All right.
Yeah.
Do you speak Italian as well?
I spoke it as a first language when I was a kid, and then I had trouble when I went off to school learning English and stuff. So they focused on teaching me English, and then by the time I was 8, 9 years old, I had forgotten almost all my Italian.
Oh, yeah.
So even now, I can understand
Yeah.
a lot of what people are saying. Just I couldn't speak it. I haven't practiced, and it sucks. I wish I did. I wish I kept it up, because it's amazing to know a language.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And Italian language is really beautiful as well.
It's a nice language, yeah.
When you hear it, it's like a melody as well.
Well, and then if you know Italian, you can pick up on a lot of French and Spanish. Like the words are the same, so it's very easy to delve into almost 4 languages when you're strong suit on one of them.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, after my recent travels with wife, we are thinking about getting into Spanish a little bit more, because there's a big Spanish community.
Of course, yeah.
Southern America, right?
Well, that's the thing. I do work in the States, and in Florida, it's all Spanish speaking.
Yeah.
You can't get by with English half the time.
Wow.
So, South Florida is like Cuba, Venezuela, a lot of Colombians, and they speak more Spanish because it's all Spanish there.
Yeah, for sure.
So if you want to go into a store or, buy something, somebody's there, nine times out of 10, you're going to get somebody who doesn't speak English.
Wow.
Yeah. It's very different.
Oh yeah, it seems like completely different kind of word to what we are used to.
Yeah. Even Los Angeles too, a lot of Spanish speaking people there, so it's a beautiful language to learn.
Oh yeah, for sure. 100%. That's on my radar next.
Of course.
Sure. On the note of your heritage a little bit more, what is one thing, or up to 3 things, or even more, that you think you are carrying through life that makes you who you are, that you still cultivate, or that you kind of use in your daily life, that is coming from your culture?
I do have an older school mentality with, I'd like to have my wife who be able to hold down the household. And, in today's generation, the way people are taught in North America, they call that sexist or whatever it is. No, that's not the case. Originally, the women were home because that's all that matters in raising that family. The women are capable to raise the family a lot more than the men. They're more intelligent with the children. They raise the kids to become a certain character. And the men are just meant to be laborers and go off to work and make sure that the wife and children are surviving effortlessly. So that's kind of been brought up in my culture. Even though I watched my mother work, I watched my grandmother stay home. And my grandfather worked every day. And then, it's just kind of one piece of good culture that I've taken with me. And if I had to name any other, it would definitely be the food. We're always eating good every meal of the day. Constantly working. So the work ethic is very culturally European. So work and family are the 2 biggest priorities. And I noticed with a lot of Canadians, any chance they can get to not work, they take it.
Yeah, true.
They love their days off, and they love their weekends, and who doesn't? But raised in an Italian construction background, there's no days off. Saturday you can make money. Why aren't you working?
Yeah.
Sunday I can do something. You can go do whatever. Why don't you go make money? It's more money for your family, more money for your kids. So that's kind of another old school habit that was instilled. And it's just watching my father as well, just work his whole life, ran his own businesses, made sure we were always okay. And we had a decent lifestyle growing up because of, all the hard work.
Yeah.
My mother worked, but, she was able to take more time off and stay home on weekends. And my dad never had those days off. So that would probably be the biggest 3.
All right.
Yeah.
That's kind of, that sounds like a lot and really strong instilled values for you.
Yeah. The family unit, the work, the food. I mean, it's always been that. Everybody I talk to in my family.
So we were saying that those pretty important values that you were raised with. You mentioned also that your father was always had his own businesses.
Yeah.
What were they?
He was a barber and hairdresser, so I
Okay.
guess he started off very young. He owned his own hair salons, and he had his employees. And now he's kind of older. He wants to retire or slow down, so he's just kind of renting a chair, working on his own.
Okay.
My mom's begging him to quit and retire, but he can't do it. Like we're raised to work, so it's hard to just throw in the towel. It's a good pastime. There's nothing to do here besides spend money if you're not working. So
Sure.
unless you have billions of dollars saved up, work is good productive value. I mean, it keeps you healthy, it keeps you social, it keeps you paid. So he doesn't want to retire from that. He just does less.
Okay. That
I think
makes
I'll be
sense.
the same as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I love construction so much. Like I love everything about my industry. And I can't see myself ever retiring.
Why is that? What do you love the most about the industry, about the job?
It's hard to say. There's no one thing. It's the ability to create. I mean, you're playing every position in my opinion. So, you're gonna do sales. You're gonna be able to break things. You're gonna be able to draw things, then recreate things, and then have a happy person at the end. So it's kind of just the whole full circle of the building game from start to finish is just very fulfilling. And when you're working as an employee for a company and you're only doing one part every day, you don't have that fulfillment. You're just it's going in your cart and off the shelf, and that's it. Whatever you're doing, whenever you're working for a company, there's no real reward, and you end up getting bored. Well, at least I did. I got very bored of it. So, being able to do my own construction and all that, at least you see the full circle. You control the full scale. And I would say that's probably would have to be the single-handedly best thing. Yeah.
You seem super passionate about the industry, about the work you do, how you do it, and as you mentioned, like starting with small laboring jobs or basic labor jobs of demolition to going through the whole customer relationship cycle, drawing and delivering the final product.
Right.
That it kind of makes me wonder, what is it? And I remember you mentioned also that before, what is it about Italian people that makes them or makes you guys drawn to the industry, to construction industry and making it happen?
I think it just comes down from Italy's architecture. It's not really a place for high tech. So what does that tell you? You're not going to get your stockbrokers and your big office buildings and the stuff like you see in New York or Toronto or LA and all that trading and business people. You're going to get architecture and tons of buildings that need service and falling apart. So you're going to end up getting people that are born into, a family of plastering or masonry or electrical work or demolition, because that's really all they have to live there is survival.
Yeah.
So they kind of bring all those values here. I mean, in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, Italians built most of Toronto, and then 60s, 70s, 80s, we started having a lot of the same migrant workers come from Portugal, and
That's right.
it was all Italian and Portuguese companies just doing all the concrete work and all the iron work because that's all they really knew from back home. And the Canadians were they didn't have to do it, or the ones that still did were getting upset because these guys were coming in working for half the price and twice as hard. So that's the biggest part of Italian culture is construction, I would say.
And for Canadians definitely who were here, and they were probably thinking, oh, who are those guys who are coming and stealing our jobs, and all those cliches
Of course.
that you will hear. But in the same time, sounds like you're like Italians and Portuguese brought up the value of work and the work ethic to the table, which weren't.
Well, they set a precedent, right? They set a standard. So if it took 10 years to build a building, now it's going to take 3. Once the developer sees that, guess who he's hiring?
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. That's all about the numbers, right?
It's all about numbers. The world's a business, and with North America, the world just went and got itself into a massive rush.
True.
all construction is rushed. You can never have a timeline that is tolerable for you. So construction, as nice as it is, it's also extremely stressful because there's always someone paying the bill. And whoever's paying the bill is extremely impatient. You'll never get a patient person because they put their money into something they want to see return yesterday.
Yeah, of course.
So that's the unfortunate side of the industry.
I think this is also coming through with the lifestyle that Toronto or any bigger North American city is representing. Is that constant push, constant run.
Yeah.
We are always late. We are always in traffic jams.
Always rushing.
Always rushing.
Yeah. I rush, 18 hours a day. I'm rushing wherever I have to go. I can never just have one relaxing day. And, in Florida, it's a little bit different. They still work relaxed. There's no crazy rush there. There's no hustle and bustle running around the city. But the second I get back to Toronto, it's crazy. It's everything. There's a high urgency on it.
Yeah.
People talk and they demand you here, and you only have so much time to get to this next meeting, and traffic's a bitch in between.
True.
And it's just like that day in and day out.
That's right.
So work doesn't need to be stressful, but unfortunately all the little elements surrounding it do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So what since we started on the note of Florida, what drew you there?
I would say I've always been drawn to Florida. I've been going down since I was in my early 20s. And I love going down there. I love the city. I love the parties. I love the sun. It's always been a spot for me. And then when the pandemic hit, they started locking everything down, and they told us on the news, obviously, you can't work. You're gonna get fined if you go to work. So I'm like, what, screw this. I'm gonna go to Florida for a few weeks and hang out over there because they weren't having any issues or lockdowns.
That's right.
So I went over there and I saw that not one thing had changed. They were still living to full effect. And it was a big eye-opener for me because that's kind of the people that I jive with, people that are just, they're going to do what they got to do no matter what. And here, I wanted to keep my company open, and then everybody around me was like, no, you shouldn't keep your company open. It's dangerous. I'm like, it's not dangerous. I have to work to feed everybody.
That's right.
Got 30 employees. The government's not paying for that.
Yeah.
And in Florida, they had my mentality. So I was immediately drawn to open business there. Not to get out of Canada because, it's done so well for me, but just to create a second option.
That's right.
And then see where it thrives better and maybe be able to manage both. And you just got to try things before, we don't know the answers to everything. But if you're drawn to something and you're curious and you don't do it, you'll be curious and regretful for the rest of your life.
That's right.
So you just got to pull the trigger sometimes.
So how does it work for you right now? Do you own two separate businesses and manage them separately?
It's basically the exact same business, just another branch.
Okay.
So we have it's a satellite office, and I fly out there. I hire local contractors there, and I supervise the projects.
Okay.
Back and forth. So a lot of my customers are actually from Canada.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they don't know where to start there. They just know they want a vacation home or something maybe they can rent out and use 3, 4, 5 times a year.
Yeah.
Where do we start? Well, Phil's here. We can just go up the street to talk to heavy duty homes, and then Phil's going to go there and do all the work. All we got to do is pay him X amount of dollars to run this project.
That's right.
And at least he's got the contacts. He'll oversee it. He'll make sure everything's going well. We got realtors out there, lenders, builders, bankers, whatever you need, we fix it.
Yeah.
So that's been working out really well.
And now you've got the contact in Nick as well, going out there and having his own branch.
So it's funny when about a year ago Nick came to my office as well, and we sat down and he's like, "What have you been doing again to Florida?" He goes, "We're doing it the same thing." So we had a nice long talk about how we can attack this together, because his business works directly with mine in terms of lending. We do construction loans and all that, and Nick's company is the ones that provide it all to my clients. So they're actually in Fort Lauderdale. My office is in Miami, but we kind of work the whole southern tip of Florida.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So you guys figured out how to make a awesome partnership that's gonna work for both sides.
It's fantastic. And now we just kind of bounce back ideas and networking off of each other steady.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what's next with Florida? Are you Are you planning to get a full-time team over there, or you still are, or you're planning to go between Canada
So
and there?
the goal is eventually to be there full time. I'll be there full time, and my Toronto office will be self sustainable with my current general manager.
Okay.
And then I'll just kind of be shooting here every couple weeks
Mm-hmm.
to do some sales or meetings or keep up face, you know.
Yep.
But my goal for Florida is to actually develop. So I want to build luxury homes and sell them. We also want to do that in Toronto, but that's going to be a model for both offices.
All right.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And so let's dig in deeper into the Maverick part of yourself, and just tell me, Phil, how you got started.
How I got started in business. I bounced around a lot. I worked in construction during high school. I didn't spend much time at school at all.
Mm-hmm.
I was always leaving to go work landscaping jobs or anything that was physical labor because it saw the most money. And I've never been a scholar. I've never been able to sit in class and pay attention, but I always knew I needed to make money. I needed clothes. I needed a car. I needed to find a girl. You needed clothes and a car to find a girl. That's all why we all get started, right? Mm. So I started working landscaping, and then that branched off. I started working construction, doing demolition for a home company. And then I took a little course because during high school, I also worked on cars.
Okay.
I did sound systems and stuff like that, video systems, and then, a little bit of home theater. Mm-hmm. So I said, you know what, construction, I'm going to put a pause in it. I went and took a course to get licensed for building custom audio systems and video systems for automotive. Mm-hmm. Did that very well. I got a job, first job when I was 18 at Future Shop at the time. So I was installing car sound systems. I ripped through that job so quick. It was so boring. I got a job for a bigger company who did bigger work and more custom stuff and home theaters and everything. 2 years there, I got bored again. And then I found a bigger job. I was building custom bulletproof luxury trucks. Same thing, full interiors. We built trucks for the Prince of Dubai, Chinese military, crazy stuff. I lasted a year and I'm like, I got to get out of this. The money's not great. I'm tired of I hit the ceiling everywhere I went. I became shop managers or supervisors or head of my course, wherever I went. Finally, I went back to the union and started a construction job because you paid well. And it was a lot more than what I was making. And it came with benefits and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And, there was a lot more room to grow.
How old were you then?
I was about 23.
Okay.
So I spent a few years there, bought a house, and then I had a mortgage to pay for it. But all through my years, 23, 24, 25, 26, I wanted to open up my own business because I had been doing so much home theater and so much handiwork as well. Like I worked for a framer, I worked for a tile setter over my years. And wanting to open my own business during this time was just eating away at me. And I was actually engaged. I had a girl I dated for a long time. We got engaged in 2015. Mm-hmm. And then in 2016, she left. She wanted to be with somebody else. So I saw an opportunity there now that I didn't have like a family to plan for or a wedding to pay for or, a house to provide. I called my parents and I said, I want to sell my house. Can I come live at home for a few years? I want to start a business. Mm-hmm. My parents were very good. Absolutely. Yeah, we support you. So I was able to easily pack up, told my company, I'm out. I'm going to start this PDR installations business. Mm-hmm. So I started a business that was cameras, smart homes, home theaters. I was doing everything I could. Go hang a TV because you don't have any contacts. You just started from nothing.
Yeah, of course.
One guy said, okay, you're doing my home theater. He goes, but I need the room built. I said, yo, you don't have a theater room yet? He goes, no. So I went there. I said, okay, I had no work. I built them the whole room. Drywalled it, taped it, everything. You watch YouTube videos, you start.
Yep.
He was so happy with the way the room turned out. He's like, can you do a bathroom for me? I said, yeah, of course. Let's try it out. I did the bathroom. He's like, okay, why don't you finish the whole basement? So after I did this guy's whole basement, this one customer, I realized there's a lot more money doing larger projects in construction rather than just the one item. Mm-hmm. So that's what I catered myself to, was PDR installations, doing these little projects everywhere. And my catchphrase for years had always been heavy duty. That's heavy duty. This is heavy duty. You know, when you say something's cool or that's fire or whatever, I would say heavy duty. So as my jobs got bigger, I picked up a big penthouse downtown Toronto. We did a really cool job on that, really, really cool clients. And that's when I changed the name from PDR Installations to Heavy Duty Homes. It was 2018 because it just stuck. Rebranded everything as a home construction company, renovations and luxury builds. And then we kind of just took off from there. It was every day was just devoted to that. And you work nights in a row without sleep. And that's kind of how the business had all began. Just endless amounts of labor poured into it. And it took about a year to 2 years of that. So we're in 2020 now, 2019, 2020, before the company started actually seeing some money and run numbers. And then 2021, it did much better. And then 2022, it did even greater. And you start seeing things double now and then triple and then quadruple. And it's just years of paid off labor. And people don't see those first 4 or 5 years where you're suffering and you have $5 left in your pocket. You have to shut down the business. You lose your relationships because you're stressed and all you do is work. You don't see your family. You don't see your friends. Most entrepreneurs go through this.
That's right.
And the ones that don't usually don't succeed because they're not giving it every last bit of blood, every last bit of sweat. They're not breaking their character to run this business. And that's what you need to do. That's what you need to do to be a maverick. That's what makes a maverick is defying all odds and punching through every ceiling. And then what do you get at the end? Haters.
That's true. That's true. But it's amazing, amazing definition of a maverick, just punching through. And you're gonna get haters as you go. But like there is that saying that I like a lot, whereas doesn't matter what they say as long as they talk about you.
That's right.
Because at the end of the day, the more people hear about you, the more lovers you're gonna get, more haters in the same time. But the further your business is gonna grow too, right?
Absolutely, yeah. It goes hand in hand. You can't have the good without the bad.
Yeah, that's right.
It's gonna happen. You can't keep everybody happy. You can't have everybody love you.
That's true.
And a maverick doesn't give a shit.
Nope.
So you do what you got to do. You remember the goal when you started and you keep attacking. And every year you do bigger, better things. Right. And if you're that type of person who's focused on what the other guy's doing, that's where your energy's going. It should be going to your goal.
True. So true. And on your own journey, what does success mean to you?
Honestly, I would define it as not having to stress.
Okay.
And that can be so broad. If you don't have to stress about the amount of work coming in, if you don't have to stress about taking time off, or do I need to get back to the office, or do I need to get to this job site, that is true success to me. Being able to just turn your brain off and let that company run. Whether it's making you $100,000 a year or 100 million a year.
Yeah.
Deleting the stress is the best part. Because it's running and it's profitable. It's a very, very, very hard thing to do. And you don't stop pushing until you hit that point. Even now, like my company does well. We've grown and we do so many projects and we have good handful of guys and good fleet.
Yeah.
And people say, "Oh, you're so successful. You're so successful." I don't have one night where it's hard for me to fall asleep because my brain is just spinning in that company. Yeah, like what's gonna happen tomorrow? I got these clients that got upset because of this. I gotta go fix that. Can I go to Miami and deal with this project for the next 2 weeks without things falling apart here? That's not success to me. You're still working. You can't let that stuff trip you out.
Yeah.
Until that's perfect and you can sleep peacefully at night, you gotta work, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm fascinated by your work ethic and you going after your own goals and still like you've got direct line to where you are going.
Yeah.
So on that note, what's next for you?
I just want to turn this company into a development company only, high end.
Okay.
So right now we kind of do a little bit of everything. We do some commercial, we do some renovations, we do some building, but I'd like to be known as a brand that produces a product and just have it turnkey ready, pumping out some of the most beautiful luxury homes that everybody will get in line to wait for and buy. So that's my my ultimate goal.
All right.
Yeah.
And then, if that's the goal, how are you gonna get there?
How do we get there? Well, you have to take on every job possible. But slowly gear. You have to weed out some jobs and start gearing towards jobs that are going to take you to that goal. So maybe we're not going to take on this guy's backyard because we're not a backyard company. And it kind of sucks. But you need to stay focused on working on that one path. But you also have to make sure that you have funding to get there.
Oh, yes, for sure.
So it's something that I'm still learning. You know, we have me and my team, my direct team. We got meetings every Wednesday. We sit down and it's literally a growth meeting. What's the next steps? What happened last week? What can we do this week to improve? Remember the end goal. What do we change? Do we change our social media? Do we change the way we talk to clients? Do we change the way we take deposits? Do we stop taking jobs like this? And you're constantly catering and tailoring to get to that goal. So if it's going to be development, it's going to be saying no to a lot more customers and having a lot more meetings with investors and financial guys and purchasing land and lunches with architects and engineers to build a team of something different.
That's right.
And slowly that path will steer.
So what's your time frame for getting there?
5 years.
5 years.
Yeah.
Really ambitious, but also.
I think I can do it in 2.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's
but
awesome.
I don't want to kill myself. I don't want to not see my daughter.
For sure.
So we'll give it 5 just so that everybody around me can stay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. At the end of the day, as you mentioned earlier, it's the further you go, the lonelier it becomes, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's pretty important to
of
keep
course.
people around you.
And then like if you have a stable family home, like my wife's great. She knows my business. She knows how hard I work, and she's always watching my daughter. But then sometimes she'll have to remind me, Mia's growing up fast. You should try to stay home a little bit. And then I gotta stay home and make sure that you spend some time with her and all that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's a hard habit to break when you're so goal driven, and then you have new elements to your life that have been added. You have to make sure everything's balanced. So balance is also key. As important as it is to work, you gotta balance your life.
So how old is your daughter right now?
She'll be 8 months this week. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, you are juggling between two kids, one being your business, one being your daughter.
Yeah. Heavy Duty Homes is the older one.
Oh yeah.
and the more troublesome one. Yeah.
We'll see how long.
We'll see when she. Yeah.
Right. But how many years in total, in your eyes, in the making, Heavy Duty? As a brand, as a company, as all your experience that led you to this point.
About 20 years. 20 years so far. And that literally just contributes to me working instead of going to high school.
Do you feel sometimes that you stop and appreciate the journey?
Oh yeah. People often have regrets. I wish I knew what I knew now when I was 15, but I say fuck that. If everything leads you to where you are now. That's you need to experience that path. And I actually listened to another speech by somebody, and they explain how a lot of people hate what their parents haven't given them, and their struggles in life. What you don't have and the struggles you do face builds people. When people don't struggle and people have everything given to them and they just kind of get there, they're often, I don't want to say shitty people for lack of a better word, but they don't have that same character.
Stamina is not there.
It's not there. So, you need that path. You need that struggle. You need to be yelled at. You need to be kicked down. You need to get back up. Because when you get to the spot where you're supposed to be in, you're an experienced person at that level.
That's right.
And you deserve what you have at that level because it's earned. Other people, like, you get it all given to them. Yeah, that was easy. But those two very different people, one's going to feel entitled to it, and one's going to feel like, I need to continue working for this because this is a reward for me.
That's right.
It's just a very different type of person.
There's a lot that comes into building your own business, your own venture, or even like your own practice, whatever that might be. Like, if you are going on your own path, as you mentioned in the beginning, like, you are wearing so many different hats at the same time, right? It's a way different ball game than just doing repeatable tasks day in, day out, 9 to 5, right?
That's right. Yeah, you got to play all parts.
Oh yeah. And you mentioned earlier that you lose friends, you go through struggles, you don't talk to people, you don't talk to family. What were your biggest struggles during that time, or still are?
Well, you kind of, that you're getting older. You're gonna want to start a family. You're gonna get too old to have kids. Like, that's always in your head. That's always something that you want, unless you don't want that. Most men do. They want to eventually settle down and have a wife and a kid, or kids, whatever. Yeah. But nothing seemed to have worked out for me. I couldn't do both. I couldn't build a successful business and keep somebody around because, I would always tell the girls I was dating, you're going to get the back seat to heavy duty homes. Meaning, this is my baby. This is what's going to come first. If we have a date night and something happens, I'm taking care of that. And a lot of women don't want that. They want to be first. They want to gain all your attention, and then work should be second. But they also want their man to be successful and, do well and buy them things. So you can't have both. So a lot of my relationships during that growth period either failed or just were like non-existent. You have to just kind of stay single and do your thing. I dated somebody from the U.S. just so that there could be a gap, so we couldn't see each other every day or do things that they wouldn't bother me. Maybe I'll see you next month, and it would allow me to work. But that didn't last either, because then you lose the intimacy and everything else that goes with that. So in terms of your relationships and starting a family and those goals, they kind of take a bit of a hit until you get over that first really hard hurdle where, you don't really have to worry about work anymore because you're good at what you do and you're good at running your business. Yeah. So that's number one. Number two, your friends are still out there. All the friends that you grew up with that are not running businesses or doing things day and night. You don't want to lose those friendships either. So it's very hard to not make all of their birthdays or events or barbecues or whatever they got going on. Or weddings, but you try to, and that's something that was really hard for me because if I was working, I had to work one day a week at least through the night. I had to work without sleep. Yeah. Every other night was till midnight, was till 1 a.m., was till 2 a.m. I would actually leave work, leave my site at 10 p.m., 10 p.m., go to the dinner, go to the bar, go do this, and then literally just throw my steel toes back on and go back to the site and work till 4 a.m. instead of 2 because I had to go to this little event or function. Yeah. And nobody there saw that. They just thought you were getting there at the right time. That's right. You're there for the party. They didn't know that you showered in the back of the shop and that you threw on some decent clothes. Yeah. You went to go spend your time with everybody, and they figured you went home to sleep. No, you went back to go tile for another 4 or 5 hours because you have to survive somehow. Yeah. So family, friends, that's the tough part. Everything else comes easy. If you're single, if you're not a social person, I'm a very social person, so those relationships were important for me to keep up. That's right. And you don't want to become that guy who's successful but then forgets their friends either, or forgets their family. So again, we talk about balance, and you want to get to a certain checkpoint, business wise, but then you can't lose what you've built over the years with your closest people. So what does balance mean to you then? Balance is you can literally control, once you're okay financially, where your time is going to be delegated. So in the beginning, I couldn't create balance. It was just work 100% of the time. The second that I knew that I had jobs lined up and my phone was ringing steady is when I said, you know what, I'm stopping work at 6, 7 o'clock. We're going to have weekends off. I'm going to work Saturday half days, and Sunday I'll do a couple meetings, maybe a cigar meeting in the morning, just still keep some connections up. And then you can sprinkle in some dinner meetings, but balance now for me is just keeping everybody appeased with where they want me to be. A lot of people say, you know, screw everybody. I run my life on my schedule. When you're a business owner, relationships are your work as well.
That's right.
So the people you stay in touch with, including your friends and the people you have strong relationships, continue to talk good about you and continue to bring your name around. So it's not only beneficial to your relationship, but it's beneficial to your work, because you're going to stay relevant with everybody. Everybody's going to ask you how you're doing, what you're doing. And, you know, that speaks volumes as well.
Yeah, that's pretty important point, that just keeping in touch with your friends, family, but acquaintances even, like that brings a loop to your business later on as well, right?
It's multifunctional benefit.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's every small piece of a puzzle comes together, and then it still makes the name for you and your brand, right?
Of course, yeah. Every time you're out with these people, it's another reminder of where you are and what you're doing. And you stay relevant to everything, because then they're going to have a family member and they're going to remember to refer or say something positive about you.
That's right.
You know? And then there's always that notion in your own head saying, you know what? I built this empire. I still have my friends. I have a beautiful family. There's another level of success. Multiple builds, because people usually can only manage one. They have a family and then they're shitty at their job.
That's right.
You know, or they have a lot of friends, but they can't hold a family because they can't stop this. Or they have a business, but they can't have friends and family because balance, man.
It sounds so easy in your words, but I feel that you went through such a long process to get there.
Yeah.
The experiences that you mentioned, it built you and got you where you are right now, right?
That first 5 years goes at the blink of an eye. You don't even remember half the shit you've done. You just know that you're out of it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So, what is your failure story?
Favorite story?
Failure. Can be small, can be big. Usually difficult.
That's a tough one. I don't know if I've had any true failure in business. That's just my character. Like, I'll lose every last dollar before I let my name go. But I would have to say in the beginning, when I didn't really know how to price, or I did, but you know, you're kind of underpricing things. You start to lose money, and you get into those arguments with the client because you're wet behind the ears. They went for a cheap price, and now you're in a big argument.
That's right.
That would probably be and you can't really call it a failure, because those are kind of like your steps.
Yeah.
But it also could be considered as a failure because you failed to gain the experience to do that project, you know, effortlessly before you took it on. So I guess maybe you can count that as a failure.
All right.
Yeah. It was actually a basement. I remember it being a basement job. Really nice guy, really nice family. I said, this basement's gonna cost $45,000. He goes, Phil, we want to do it for $25,000, $30,000. And I said, no, we can't. And finally he says, no, let's do it. I'll give you the job. I was so desperate to work because we didn't have any. I said, okay, let's take it on. Sure enough, I'm halfway through and there's no money left, and I am not getting any from the client, and I had to just pack everything up and walk the job. And that's not something that we're proud of. It's not something that you want to be left in your memory with. But
for sure.
That's definitely it's a good starting point to say, you know what, you better sharpen your skills before you do this again. Because not only are you hurting your business and your name, but you're hurting the client and their family.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true, and it is both, especially if your client is respectful of you
Right.
and treats you right and through the whole process. But yeah, it's super difficult to leave pack and go. But at the end of the day, you are not a charity; you are a business, right? So
That's
you need
right.
to make money.
And that's where experience comes into play. When you tell somebody a price and they ask you to come down, the immediate answer now is absolutely not. But in the beginning, you're thinking, oh, maybe I can, maybe I should, maybe I just really need this job. And that's inexperience talking.
That's right.
Experience demands and commands. It doesn't negotiate. So that's your biggest take from experience in this business. You know, being able to control the outcome.
Control the outcome.
Mm-hmm.
It's yeah, it's funny how those things show, you see them after the time, and after you experience those small tripping and falling moments, and you get to the point where shit, I shouldn't be doing that at all, right?
Yeah.
I should have said no from the get-go, from the beginning, and
Yeah.
but that's how you learn, as you mentioned on the beginning, right?
That's how you learn, man. You gotta take those licks.
Oh yeah, the failures teach you more than all the successes that you.
That's the only place you learn.
Yeah.
You know, you only learn by failing. You never learn when things go smooth.
No.
You ever heard that one saying? Smooth waters never made a skilled sailor.
That's a nice one. I haven't heard it,
No?
but it's really nice. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So the best sailors have sailed through the biggest chop.
Oh yes.
You know, and they've had the hardest time.
And they survived, and they know for next time how to behave, right?
How to do it, and this and that. So you know, the hardest shit, man, makes the best people. So,
Oh yeah.
and I've taken a lot of financial beatings, but what makes the difference is I'm sure a lot of people have, but instead of walking that job, you need to just take it, finish it, make them happy, and not tell them that you ever lost. So you got to take them on the chin. That's the first 3, 4, 5 years.
Yeah.
You do a few good jobs and you take one shot in the mouth, but you don't tell them, and you don't not finish the job, and you don't ask for more money because you look like an idiot. You shut up, you do it, you hold your ground, your pride, and you walk away like you priced that thing properly. And you learn. You fix it on the next one. You know, if you count your pennies, that's all you're ever gonna have.
Yeah.
So let those go. Let the change go. You'll make it up somewhere else down the road. And some people are not like that. That losing a few G's here and there is gonna bother them. I lost 10, 12 grand when I was starting off on a job. That's a huge loss when you have nothing.
That's true.
You know, it's like almost all my savings was gone, and I couldn't say anything. You just have to deliver a perfect product and continue moving. Somehow you have $500 left to your name, and truck payments come out, and tools need to be bought, and you don't know what's going to happen because there's no paychecks coming in because you're self-employed.
Yeah, that's right.
So those are the daily failures that happen in the beginning.
They definitely make you stronger, and they make you appreciate what you have and where you came from, right? And
that's what it is. And then when you're older and more experienced, when shit hits the fan with a job or financially, it's who cares? Let's fix it. What's next?
Yeah.
Different attitude.
Oh yeah, and I think big part to it is as well, like once you went through all of those big ones, supposedly moments and failures, you like realize like what I'm dealing with right now at this point in the game. It's like this shit is next level compared to what I was dealing then, and for me then it was the end of the world, right?
Of course, yeah.
So it's different once you.
I can't believe I stressed over that. Yeah,
exactly. But that's time and experiences, right?
Absolutely.
So doing so much and going through those levels in your business and growing your business so fast as well. You say 20 years in the making, but the heavy duty is what, 6 years official as a brand, right?
Yeah.
Correct?
2016 I was on my own. 2018 I renamed as Heavy Duty.
Okay.
So I've been about 6-7 years in business by myself. Yeah.
Awesome. So
Do you have a way that you go about setting a next goal for yourself in the company?
Not really. I'm constantly always goal oriented. But like I was saying before, it's nothing that you can kind of change you wake up tomorrow and just start doing this.
Yeah.
It's a very slow process, a very slow steer, because you have so much that needs to be sustained now. You know, in the beginning, if something's just not working, you can stop doing it and try something else.
Yeah.
But when the company is fully operational, there is no stopping and changing a course.
Yeah.
This needs to be maintained because this is everything. Now what can we do to slowly steer?
Course correction, kind of.
Exactly. Yeah. So, like I said, those weekly meetings and the weekly talks and different meetings with different people, that's what I'm constantly trying to do now, is make different types of relationships, but still focus on everything that's going on. But maybe I'm going to go talk to somebody I would never have spoken to before, because you're seeing things from a different angle now. And you start to mesh a bunch of different moving parts together. Once you kind of have that ball rolling, your mind never stops on growth.
That's right.
You know, you're just constantly entertaining things that people wonder why you're entertaining them. But they don't see the friggin' big picture that's right. You're stressing over every night.
Is it like you're trying to reach out to people you haven't met before in different industries, even kind of to pick those working points from one person or another, so you can kind of get the whole puzzle together for yourself?
Of course, yeah.
And add value to your own business,
exactly,
right? Where you are getting.
Yeah, many different key players. You get a lot of different moving parts involved. And, you maybe have a good experience with this guy, but then you have to talk into this one. Okay, I don't really need that. Let's try this option. And it's constantly just peppering in different things. And really that's going to be the job of an owner, CEO, is constantly goal-oriented and growth-oriented while maintaining current staff and current situations. And now that you have the ability and knowledge on how to do your business, you can just multiply it and apply different models to everything.
There's a lot of that modeling work in entrepreneurship itself. Like, you constantly need to drive the strategy and the new ways of approaching
Absolutely.
things.
Never stops. Every 6 months you almost need to change what you're doing. Because you're always gonna, if you're good at what you do, you're always gonna get slightly further. And you gotta change again. What's the ceiling in this industry? There is none.
Yep, that's true.
When you work for yourself, especially in construction, the options are endless. It's a lifetime of goals and changing. So for somebody like me who gets bored because there's just not enough stimulation in my workplace, this is the perfect beast. It's something I love managing. It's something that constantly has problems that I need to deal with. And, in the beginning stages, those problems were stressful, but now it's like, yeah, bring it on. Everything's a no issue task. We just figure it out.
I think that's the best approach when like you are faced with a challenge, and instead of saying, oh no, I never done it, I don't know, you were like, okay, I take it and I will figure it out as I go.
It's construction, man. It's never perfect. You get somebody drawing a picture who's never swung a hammer. You get somebody swinging hammers who's never drawn a picture, and you got to somehow take this and make a friggin' 40,000 pound fucking structure out of it.
That's right. Connect the dots between one and another, and deficiencies of one person and the other, right?
Then you got to do multiple ones to make money, because your team's growing and you have bigger overhead, and one job doesn't pay for everything anymore.
That's right.
But then those multiple ones require more people on staff. Then more people on staff require more jobs on the go. So it's a beast that will constantly grow, and you do not stop feeding it. One day someone will want to buy it. You can sell it and you can retire, but
that's right.
why do that? You leave a legacy for your kids. teach them some values in the meantime, teach them how to run a business, hopefully, if they want to go that route.
Yeah.
I hear a lot of disappointing stories where kids don't want to take the path of their parents, and that's kind of all they had in mind. But, you know, you want the kid to be happy, so.
For sure. Like, at the end of the day, it's their own life, right? So
Their life,
they decide, like you decided for yourself that you want to
Of course.
continue and do the construction, even that was always around, as you said, on the Italian front.
Well, funny enough, when I was a little kid and I would go to work with my dad every Saturday instead of, hanging out at home. I used to love going to work with him, and I would say, Dad, I want to be a hairdresser too. I want to be a barber. I want to do this. He would tell me, no, you're not getting in this business. You're going to be much better. And I never understood why, because I was so young and I looked up to him so much, and he provided for the whole family, and that was his job, and everybody at the shop looked up to him. I couldn't understand why he was telling me no. But now I just know he wanted more for me. He didn't want me up on my feet every day.
Yeah.
You know, just never occurred to me until later. But he always told me that, you know, try and do business for yourself. Try and be your own boss. That was the only benefit to that. So it's definitely important to instill that in your kids at a young age, because those are words that never left.
True.
And when I was an employee, those are words I still remembered.
That it sounds like your father was a super supportive and also kind of laying a path for you.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he didn't push me. He didn't push me to do anything I didn't want to do. You know, he always asked me why and questioned, had talks with me, and then eventually I figured it out. But you got to just keep the fire on and keep, you know, a little bit of pressure applied. Because with kids, you know, they tend to rebel.
Oh, yes.
If you go too hard.
For sure. So what do you think that was most important in what your father was telling you or supporting you with, that made you basically decide, I'm gonna do it on my own?
He basically taught me that you can be your own boss, and you'll never have to work for anybody, and it doesn't necessarily mean you won't have to work. But working for yourself is most rewarding. And I said, but why? You work 6-7 days a week sometimes. He goes, it doesn't matter. He goes, all my money is going to me. I'm not making it for somebody else to get rich. And, you know, that sticks at a very young age. These are things that you never forget. So I knew that everything I was doing, somebody else was getting paid for it.
That's right.
You know, and you need that too. You need employment, and that's how the world runs.
Mm-hmm.
But for Mavericks, maybe it doesn't work that way.
That's so true.
Yeah.
It's all the Mavericks. I definitely speak from my own experience, but also people I met so far, interviewed so far. Is like, as a Maverick, even though you are stuck, you might be stuck in the work for somebody else. You always your brain is always trying to figure out the way that you're gonna do your own thing, or you do it parallelly as you go, right?
Yeah.
At some point, to be able to take it off to the next level, and then
for sure,
just drive with it
for
full
sure
on, right?
Yeah, that's how it goes.
Yeah. Because of your background, we spoke about Italy. That's one on your list. Is there anything else on the part of discovering this word? What would be the countries that you want to go to see, feel for yourself?
That's a tough one. I mean, Europe's been something I've been curious about. I love the U.S. and I love how different all the states are.
Mm-hmm.
Like the culture in Texas versus the culture in Florida versus the culture in New York.
Oh yeah.
The U.S. has probably been the absolute most fascinating for me.
Why is that?
Just because that constant, every hour that you drive, you hit a different culture. And that's not something I experience in Canada.
Okay.
I haven't spent any time in Europe, so I can't really speak on it. I'm more curious about it.
Mm-hmm.
But I know it's not for me. I'm not a sightseer. I'm not somebody who likes to walk everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, I'll definitely go to admire the architecture and stuff like that. Portugal, I hear, is beautiful, things like that. That's it, man. The U.S. has like been so awesome for me. You learn so many different things about people, but it's nothing like going to Europe. Totally different, obviously.
For sure.
Asia, I know you said you spent some time in Asia. Again, something I never really thought twice about. I just figure in my head it's too dense, it's too packed. I'm gonna be congested, and I don't want to go. But that's a very ignorant mindset, because there's probably so many cool things to see and so many cool places to go. Like Japan's always been on my list as well. Not so much China because of its density, but
Yeah.
Japan friggin' sounds cool.
It's amazing.
Thailand sounds beautiful. But again, I couldn't go anywhere near Bangkok. There's way too many people for me.
They're like always with travels, you've got pros and cons to it.
Yeah.
Right, and
That's the experience, though. You know,
it is an experience for sure.
Yeah.
And that is also bringing the beauty into learning. Like, to be honest, I think you are one of the first people who are actually saying that they are fascinated by US.
Yeah.
So much, like going and seeing different cultures. I heard people saying that about Toronto area, that we have so many different nationalities around here, most diverse city. Apparently in North America, I'm not sure, but multiple people from almost everywhere.
That's the thing. Toronto, it's very diverse, but diversity is not what's cool about anything.
That's right.
It's literally seeing the entire state change. Like, here's 4 hours of cowboys, you know? Here's 4 hours of stockbrokers. Here's 4 hours of friggin' Cubans making you drinks in Miami. Like, it's wild to me that there can be just such a large density of the same person in every state. I've never seen that anywhere.
That's so interesting. I think from now on, I'm gonna ever visit to US. I'm gonna try to look from this perspective to see it.
See the changes, man. Yeah.
For sure. Wow.
Absolutely. You go to Montana, you get the farmers.
Yeah. Wow.
Just crazy things everywhere.
For sure.
Yeah.
On the note, what you do and you being a maverick on your own terms and building your own business in your own special way, what would you like to people to understand about what you do or your business, like general public?
What my business is geared towards?
Either what it's geared towards or the biggest misunderstanding that you feel that people they miss the point on what you are about. Either or.
That's tough. So recently we started doing some cool videos. What I thought was cool. We would do, videos instead of showing so much houses and work only. We decided to do some funny stuff. So we knocked off a version of The Godfather. We knocked off a version of The Sopranos. We did some cool stuff, walking through Miami, having drinks of tequila with the whole company, and just trying to make different advertisements. Instead of just constantly showing tiles or bathrooms or houses or bricks.
That's right.
And I was starting to get comments from random people saying, well, these guys just think they're a bunch of gangsters. What kind of stupidity is this? This has nothing to do with construction. And, you often get haters or people that are just missing the point.
That's right.
Of the video. And the video was to show what we were doing without showing it. So we just show that the team has landed. Here we are. We're enjoying the lifestyle of this place. And you already know what we do. So here's something else. A lot of people got it right away, but there was a good handful of people that says, that video's a little intimidating. I would think you were a mobster or a gangster. Come on, guys. Like, it's clearly a knockoff.
Yep.
We're doing some funny stuff just to stay relative and change our media and all that. So to be clear, we're home builders.
Yeah.
We are luxury renovators. We do commercial sites. We do all things construction. And that's pretty much it. I have a concierge service now that I just opened.
Mm-hmm.
And people say, why do you open a concierge service if you're a construction company? I had a few messages. What's this concierge service all about? And I said, well, for our clients in Toronto that have no idea where to start in Florida, we literally have a team set up there that will book your flights, they'll book your Airbnbs, they'll book your restaurants, they'll pick you up at the airport, they'll drive you around. You can literally be in the hands of heavy duty homes while you're experiencing the place that I'm sending you to go invest in.
Mm-hmm.
So that concierge service still backs up the home service. If you call me from downtown Toronto and you're a busy guy, but you want a house in Florida, Phil, I got $4 million. Can you build me something Waterview? Absolutely. Did you want to go see any properties at all? You would say, how about, because you're a busy man, why don't you go pick 3 or 4 areas and show me what we can build, and then I'll take a trip down there. When you take that trip down there, heavy duty concierge is going to take care of you. You're not going to be down there like a tourist, stumbling, missing things. You're going to have a schedule built based on things that you like. If you're a single guy with money, we're going to do a whole different set of activities than a family going down to see a condo.
I get you.
So that concierge service is just, it's a very personal package, and it really just does cater to anybody who's spending money with me over in the US. And a lot of people don't understand that either. Like, why are you doing concierge?
I think that's the problem with going outside of the brackets of your name or your industry and doing something as a Maverick. Like, you do things against the grain, against the common conception of how you should operate, what you should do.
Right.
But at the end of the day, that's what makes you unique, and that's what kind of will bring you more of those clients that's gonna appreciate you better.
Of course.
Right?
Yeah.
And those who hate, at the end of the day, don't matter.
Now, we were talking earlier about what do you do to work towards those goals. This was one of the many moving parts. Let's open the concierge service so that we can start entertaining that luxury client who wants to go out and invest and build and develop. We'll be your guys. We'll take you to show the land. You want to spend $20 million on something? I'm going to take good care of you while you're looking at it.
Oh, yeah.
So you're right. The people that are not in that mindset, preparing for that next step, are not going to understand why that service exists. But me being 10 steps down the road, I know what needs to be implemented. You know, if you're going to invent a car on a road, you should probably invent a traffic light first.
That's right.
So you don't want to let 2 people collide and then, shit, what are we going to do?
Definitely. And the person who is willing to invest tens of millions of dollars definitely will appreciate some guidance and
Of course.
And help on the journey, right?
That's it. It's, heavy duty took good care of me. There were people dressed up in suits and everything was branded heavy duty, and you got there and it just feels like you're still in good hands.
Yeah.
That's the whole point, is to grant you the experience so you have a great time and you come home wanting to invest. I'm ready to go.
It's a whole experience.
Whole experience, yeah. And that's we have something called the heavy duty treatment. And it's in our books, it's in our sales books. And what does that mean? It means the client is going to get a luxury product with a white glove service with, as little stress as possible, because construction and building is stressful.
Oh, yes, for sure.
So the heavy duty treatment kind of just is everywhere, and it's how we do things. It's how we handle ourselves. Yeah.
That's super important to have that mindset passed on to all the levels of your organization, right? So everybody knows it, and the treatment is followed by all the people in the organization.
Of course, yeah.
So what or who is your ideal client then?
My ideal client? I want the client to be investors eventually. And I just report to them timelines, sales figures, and really not working for anybody besides the money man.
Okay.
And if you give somebody like that a clear timeline and a clear profit statement, they're going to be patient. because they see the value. They're not looking after prices. They're not that client that's, down your neck about when things are going to be ready. These are people with money to invest in things, and they understand these things take time. They're probably well more experienced businessmen than me. So if I tell them I need 2 years and $20 million, but I'm going to make you $5 million, no problem. Go get it done.
Yep.
If I don't deliver, then we got issues.
That's true.
But at least I don't need to see you until that date I gave you. Whereas when you're kind of working for homeowners, it's a very different ballgame. They want to get back into their homes. You've moved them and their families out. They're constantly on your neck if it's a renovation, or if you're building for somebody, it's just, well, I need to sell this house and we're supposed to move into that one. We have the buyers coming. What are we going to do? Where are we going to stay? You guys are late by a month. We have to go get an Airbnb. Who's paying for this? These are constant issues you have.
Yeah.
With your typical client, because they just don't understand construction, and you don't want to hurt them either. You want to do good for them.
For sure.
But there's always going to be that little bit of stress, always, every construction project. So yeah, the ideal client is almost no client at all. It's just building, developing, selling. And if you build a really good product like we do now, it should be no trouble. I'd rather make a lot less money on something and do a really nice custom build, rather than, you see all these condos and stuff people are doing now, and townhouses. There's so many stupid rooms that you can't even turn around in.
That's right.
You can't put furniture in them. Nothing was thought out, but they made money on it. They did it super cheap. We do not want to be known as those builders. If I got to lose money on 4 units, but I can create a rooftop pool for these people and amenities, I'm going to do that. You're not going to make money on the amenity like you would on the units, but at least your brand will be known.
That's true. Heavy
Duty builds beautiful luxury townhome complexes. They have tennis courts. They have a gym. They have a rooftop pool. Maybe we didn't make $5 million. Maybe we only made 2. But the people are happy and the brand is good.
That's right.
So we just constantly have that notion in mind.
You can get further doing that and keeping
right.
customers happy and satisfied, because at the end of the day, if they are happy, they're gonna become your brand ambassadors.
Of course, yeah. And they're gonna follow for more. When are they building more? Where's the next development?
Yeah, that's right.
You get that a really good name from that. So
little bit, we are stepping up a game, Phil. So
yeah.
What's your biggest problem right now?
I would say the economy right now is giving us the biggest shot. Interest rates have skyrocketed. Inflation, construction materials, everything has become very uninvestable. When I say that, I mean because everything's so expensive, you want to be able to build and you want to be able to get out and gain your ROI. Even if there's no return, you at least want to break even so you're not out. But right now that's not possible. Interest rates and inflation are killing this industry. And all of our potential clients who want to move forward are not. And all of our clients that are moving forward are ones that have like capital and stuff like that, which really narrows the market.
Yeah, for sure.
Because before, working with guys like Nick and Spark Financial and stuff, you can leverage any property. Let's do construction loans. Let's get this thing going. No problem. You want a $750,000? Here, I'll get you half, put in the other $250,000. We could have made deals left, right, and center. Nobody had stress, but now tables have turned on everybody. Materials sky high. So the size of the bill versus the amount of money that they can't get from the banks is really putting a big dent in the construction industry. Because guys that were so busy and have geared to be that busy have now cut their operations in half, which means half of their employees no longer have a job that had one last year.
So how you are approaching that? How are you dealing with it?
We've just, upped our sales process and re-geared towards different markets of clients. So instead of scaling back and taking on little jobs and little things just to keep the bank healthy, instead we're taking none of that and we're only going after big fish. So we did the total opposite. So it's taking much longer to get a job, but once you get a job, it's much larger and much more rewarding. So I can do 5 small jobs and make, $500,000, or I can do one job and make $500,000.
Yeah.
What's going to be more efficient for your company to manage?
Obviously, the
5
latter.
sets of clients or one?
One.
One.
Obviously.
So that's kind of how we're working right now, because it takes a lot less employment staff, and it still keeps the banks healthy and the company healthy while we get through this bit of an economical crisis, we'll call it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A small type of turmoil.
Yeah.
So, since we are on the financial topics and discussions, any financial lessons or tax incentive tricks of a trade, I don't know, creative accounting, whatever, that you wish you learn earlier?
Yeah, there's always ways to cut costs in construction. Having instead of having a huge staff of in-house and general laborers, it's more often worth it to sub. And we have in-house divisions for our finished trades. These are things I wish I knew in the beginning, because it makes the company way more efficient and cuts down overhead.
So how does that work for you guys?
So basically, I have in-house subs. So say you're a flooring contractor, and you've been my flooring contractor for years, but I say, you know what, I have so much work, Matt, I'm going to offer you something. You still keep your company, you still write me bills, except I'm going to give you a truck, I'm going to give you heavy duty branding, and you're going to run your shit under me, and you're going to work for me 24/7. I'm still going to give you your square footage pricing.
Yeah.
Now I don't have to pay the taxes on you. I don't have to pay the WSIB on you. I don't have to worry about anything that you have to worry about an employee. I don't have to worry about keeping you busy, because you still have a business. You can go do other things that people call you for.
Yeah.
So that's a lot more helpful, because if it's like, you know what, we're waiting 2 weeks for a house, you could say, no problem, I got this guy who's been asking me to do his flooring, let me go hammer that. So there's a lot less stress with that involved. The upside is, for me as well, I have you at our schedule. So stop what you're doing at that house. I have something urgent. You can't really do that with a sub trade that doesn't work for you. They need to finish their project. It's kind of like, F you, I got something to do right now.
True.
But no, if all of our projects are yours, okay, no problem, let me help you guys out. Run over here and figure this out. So that's how we've geared our divisions. And that took about 4 years to learn how to get there. Creative accounting. There's always creative accounting in construction, Everybody takes Italian visa. So we got fun ways to get around that. And then there's also rebates for homeowners, not so much for the company itself. But we like to offer, there's another good company out there, HST Rebate Canada. You can do up to $300,000 of renovations in your home, they'll get you back, 20, 25, I think 20,000, 18 or 20,000 back in rebates from the government that nobody knows about.
Yeah.
You've done so much insulation, so many windows, so many good things to your home. They'll go after these rebates, take a small percentage and give you a check back.
Wow.
So, maybe the check will pay for your brand new $20,000 fridge or something. It's very helpful.
Yeah, for sure.
And the government doesn't advertise this, because why would they?
Yes,
it's money out of their pocket. But these people go digging for it, and they help clients, and it's very good that they're doing that.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So basically, it sounds like you're going and presenting the package, which is almost impossible to refuse. I would say.
We try. A lot of people still refuse right now because it's not viable. It doesn't make sense to take loans. So even if the package is irrefusable, imagine you got to borrow $500,000 to finish your project. It's going to cost you $500,000 to borrow that.
That's right.
It really sucks, So I tell people myself, as much as I want to do this project, I can't do this knowing that you're going to be making this payment for the next X amount of years, because it just does not work for me. Let's hold off for a year or two. Let's see what happens in the industry. And I'll work for the guys with capital that are not losing all their money in interest, because it's almost inhumane if you don't explain this to them. You're going to give them a payment of $8,000 a month that should really only cost $4,000.
That's right.
And it's not cool. So people with capital are the goal right now, and that's kind of all we got to do. At least they're not getting hurt.
Yeah, That's true. They know how to play the money game. Right?
Yeah.
So, um, do you consider yourself like a tribe person or community person?
To a degree, yeah.
Okay.
I'm not like a diehard or something crazy, but yeah, I look out for things.
Okay. Anything specific?
I would say no, other than you support your local businesses, you support your local political companies and campaigns. You just try to be a positive effort in your community. Food drives, donations, anything you can do.
Yeah.
So we're always doing giveaways and stuff, and charities and raffles and prizes and things of that nature, especially around Christmas months and everything. We do big food drives. So for our community, we always want to make sure that we at least do a small part, our small part. Yeah.
It's super important to, at some point when you get there, to give back and show.
Yeah, and there's actually that's one of them. There's a girl who does Give Back Canada. That's her company name, and every year she takes sponsors and people just go out, buy things, and then send it to her. And she sends it all out, all over the place to people who have no money and can't afford it. It's just simple things like deodorants and shampoos. You go out and buy things and give it to Give Back Canada, and they cycle it around. So that's actually a really nice program.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I haven't heard about them, so I'm definitely gonna check them
Yeah,
out.
yeah, they're good.
Today. I'm gonna ask you two deeper and a little bit more heavy duty questions.
Couple heavy questions. Let's go.
What is the question you would like to be asked more often?
That's a tough one.
Heavy duty.
It could also be very simple. The easy answer is I have a Harley Davidson, so maybe you could ask me, do you want to go for a ride?
That's awesome.
Because yeah, you tend to find yourself riding alone, but there's no depth to that answer. I don't know, man. That's tough.
Try to be selfish for a moment and think about yourself. What you might need.
What do you want to be asked more? Give me some examples. What do you got? What have other people said?
That's not gonna be so easy.
Are you happy? That's a very unasked question. When you're in business for yourself, you almost don't know, because you're constantly chasing. You're being rewarded, but we're almost a little bit psychotic. Like, we don't know when to stop.
Delusional.
Yeah. When's it enough? So you find yourself in this vicious circle, just growing and growing and growing and growing everything, and you find that so much life passes so quickly. You ask yourself, is it worth it? So if that question was asked more often, I would think people would make their decisions differently, just by being reminded of that. So if I had to take any question daily as a reminder, it would be, are you happy?
So Phil, are you happy?
I'm pretty freaking happy. Yeah. As stressed out as you get, as angry as you get, and things don't go your way, at the end of the day, I wouldn't change a thing. So you gotta own it, and that's happiness to me. I think everybody perceives it differently.
That's true.
Some people are happy laying on the couch with a pail of ice cream. For me, I want to put a bullet in my head.
Yeah, if you do that, for for sure. I think most of the Mavericks would agree on that. Okay. Last one to kick the lying man in the guts. What have been the greatest day of your life?
The greatest day of my life is the day I was engaged. We also had like a gender reveal party. I found out I was having my daughter. So it was just meant to be a party to, you know, pop the balloon, see what color comes out, and a big family celebration.
Yeah.
But I planned a surprise engagement that nobody knew about.
Wow.
So we popped the first balloon and no colors came out. It was all red hearts. So my fiance was, girlfriend at the time, she was about to freak out on the balloon girl. And then I let some suspense build up because nobody knew what had come out of the balloon. I got down on one knee, and when I gave her the ring, the look on her face and the tears, she was so happy. That was probably one of the greatest things ever. And, 20 minutes later, we popped the real balloon. I found out my daughter was here, or she was coming, and that was single-handedly the best day I've ever had. It gave me a reason to continue everything that I'm doing. You know, I wouldn't have been able to have this beautiful party and my fiance, which was led to me through work and all my hustle. I wouldn't be able to have any of that if it wasn't for the years of pushing and pushing and pushing. So it's just a constant reminder of, you know, how you tied everything together. Plus the amount of people at the party and all the different people were brought together by that business. Brought these different people together, these different friend groups and different family members, because we had my staff there and best friends and her friends and everything, which we all came to be through work. You know, I didn't meet her anywhere else. She was my stager.
Wow.
So I do have Heavy Duty Homes to thank for that, for bringing it all together. That's definitely, hands down, the greatest day.
It is super rewarding to have those conversations with people like yourself. And me myself, at some point I discovered that feeling the emotion of other person gives me a lot of happiness and joy.
Right.
and joining with the other person through the moments that they recall and go through.
Of course.
And
probably the greatest moment would be the birth of your child, if you see that.
It's a lot to handle, for sure.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And it's beautiful to see that the struggles are real, that the direction that you through your business ventures, and then starting with you going through your own trial and errors, doing one job, another, getting
right.
bored and going forward.
Right.
That built the whole structure to Heavy Duty. That became Heavy Duty after a time, and now you guys are heading to what? Completely new directions, right?
New directions, yeah. Every day.
Amazing.
Focus on the path ahead.
Phil, it was a pleasure having you on the show.
Same.
Amazing conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you. This was great.
Beautiful.
All right.
And it's a wrap. We dare you. If you are bold enough, hit subscribe, repost the rebellion, and don't miss out on next week's episode. It's going to be bloody brilliant. See you on the next one.